A Kultured Kast has been created for entertainment and educational purposes. The advice given are opinions of our host and not of medical advice. The podcast is not a substitute for direct, personalized, professional medical care and diagnosis. Exercises and dietary advice mentioned should be discussed with your physician or personal trainer to find out what is best for you. All right, thanks for joining us again at Kultured Kast. I believe this is episode 5, season 2. And we're going to talk about how affirmations are bullshit. You might not like that. With us again, Corey is still away. He's got the runs. And he's just not feeling well. And then we got the brain with us, of course, the big guy and the old man. So Brainiac, lead us into why affirmations are bullshit.
Okay, so I'll start off with the Alex Hormozi quote. So people either love Alex Hormozi or hate him. I think I will decide that on what piece of advice he gives, but I do like this one.
Okay.
So the quote: "You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt."
Oh, I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
So outwork my self-doubt. So it doesn't matter what I say to the mirror.
No.
In my subconscious,
Yeah.
I have to work out what my negative subconscious is. That I have to outwork those feelings.
Let's say, okay, so instead of saying, I live a healthy lifestyle,
Right.
you would say, for 90 days straight, I'm going to make these healthy choices, right? It means that I'm going to work out for 5 days a week. I'm going to eat these food groups. I'm going to do this, do that. After the 90 days, you do not need any sort of affirmation because you have the proof. Someone says, do you live a healthy lifestyle? You're like, yeah, I do, because I do.
But does that person continue after the 90 days saying that because they feel that that's the reason they're living a healthy lifestyle?
At that point in time, you would self-identify.
Right. Okay.
Right?
So I'm just a healthy individual.
I'm just a healthy individual because that's what I do.
Right.
Check the last 3 months. Like check every day at a random point in time. You're going to find me being a healthy person.
Right.
And now at that point, if they do something other than that, they are lying to themselves. Right. It's the same idea of the, so smoking, quitting smoking.
Right.
There is a test they can do within the 2-week period that I forget the exact study, but it was once you separate those two, they do the test, you pass it, you fail it. The pass was something along those like 90 times more likely to quit smoking. Like it's the greatest indicator there can be at that point in time. And it's to offer someone a smoke. So if you're 2 weeks into quitting, I offer you a smoke. If you say, oh, no, thank you, I'm trying to quit, you failed.
Because you're trying.
Yep. If I offer you the smoke and you say, oh, no, thank you, I don't smoke, you are over 90 times more likely to actually continue because you self-identify.
Right.
You self-identify someone, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So to smoke would make you a liar. If you say, I'm trying my best to quit.
Yeah.
If you smoke, there's nothing wrong with that. Right? I tried. I never said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just said I was going to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So it's the idea if you create a pattern in which you self-identify with, you are extremely likely to continue that pattern.
Okay. So then what's wrong with me looking in the mirror? I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the SNL skit, but the guy used to look in the mirror and you could see him and he's like, and he'd finish off. He'd say something like, I'm pretty and I'm tall and gosh darn it, people like me.
Right.
Was that Chris Farley?
No, it was in that time though.
Yeah.
Like it was back in that day, back in the 90s when the guy, and it was the most hilarious skit. It was all about affirmations.
Affirmations, yeah.
But he was clearly being jocular about it, right?
Yep.
But is there any there?
Now this is from a professor I had. Okay. So he talked about affirmations.
Right.
And, people say, it's magic, right? It's the universe giving you something. Or some people say it's absolute bullshit. Right. And he said, do not toss something out just because you don't understand the science, right? So his example was in the Nile, when they needed to work their irrigation system, they needed to know the time the Nile was going to flood. Like they needed to know, right? They had to have everyone ready for their irrigation system. People would die if they were not ready for this event.
Right.
So they would ask shamans who would look up to the sky and ask God, right? Or ask some sort of spirit, when is the Nile going to flood, right? Surprisingly enough, their success rate was almost 100%, which seems, right before I said 100%, you said bullshit, right? In your head, right? But it was 100%. Now, just because you don't understand the science doesn't mean you have to throw it out. There's science behind it. What they were actually doing is astrological mapping.
Right.
They were looking at the stars, the rotation, right? That was their God saying when this Nile was going to flood, right? It's looking at an astrological calendar, and they're just, this is the point in time last year where it flooded. It's going to flood very close to that time. So affirmations are the same idea, right? Some people say it's bullshit, and some people say it's the universe speaking to me, right?
Right. Yeah.
Neither of those are actually true, right? So affirmations work on the reticular activation system in the brain. So this is an actual portion of your brain that decides what information gets filtered out specifically. So let's say you're at the gym training a client. Right? So you're talking to a training client. Technically speaking, all your sensation perception is getting flooded, right?
Yeah, with
so
all the noise, the people.
Yeah, not only, obviously you're looking at this person talking to them and you hear them, right? That's the information coming in. But when you look at them, you can see everything else, right? It's within your field of vision. So when people are walking, whether they're using their left hand to grab a machine, whether it's the right hand, whether their mouth is moving to talk to someone, whether they're scratching their butt, it's all within your field. So that information is coming in. Same with every conversation that's technically within hearing range is coming in your ears. Every bang, you could, technically speaking, count the reps someone is doing over there by the amount of sound that's coming out, right?
Right.
That's way too much for the human brain to process. So
I've actually caught myself counting other people's reps before.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
But the idea is you have enough information. Technically, you hear that person talking, you hear their reps, you hear their grunting, you know what I mean? Like that's all that information we need to filter out, right? It comes in, we need to no. So the reticular activation system is what filters out.
Okay.
Now, the reticular activation system works on a subconscious level in the idea where you're not deciding, it's not like every second you have to say, that data is useless. You know what I mean? Like it's happening on a subconscious level. But you control what the reticular activation system deems important on a conscious level. You consciously decide, I'm listening to Pam right now.
Right.
And you're on the subconscious level, your reticular activation system, don't worry, I got it. Right. I'm going to.
And so now it's filtering everything else out. So now you're listening to that one conversation.
Exactly. On a subconscious level, your reticular activation system says, don't worry, I got you. I know you want to listen to Pam. Don't think about anything else. I got you.
Right.
What affirmations does is the conscious effort to control your reticular activation system. So if you say opportunities are abundant and I'm going to take advantage of all of them, that's your affirmation that you say 100 times in the mirror right now. Yeah. What is your reticular activation system not going to filter out? Opportunities. You're going to be looking around, right? You're going to see, oh, that person looks like they might be involved in the business I want to get into. They seem kind of nice. I'm going to try to talk to them. Right? That's what that affirmation allows you to do, is realize those things are happening. And we've talked about before, reticular activation system works on the other way too.
Yeah.
I'm having such a bad day. What does it not let come in?
Good.
Yeah.
Reasons why, you know what, today's probably not that bad. So the reticular activation system is a real thing, and affirmations can help the conscious level of deciding what does not get filtered out. But that is not the be all end all. That is not the universe handing you something. An example I was thinking of, okay, so that person looks like they're in the business that I'm involved, so I'm going to talk to them, whatever. Let's say you get a chance to pitch your idea for a job or business to someone is well connected in that industry.
Right.
What is going to happen if you jump on that opportunity because you've made those affirmations, but you have not spent even a minute practicing your pitch? You've never spent You've never asked your friend, hey, do you mind? Like, I'll buy you pizza if you sit with me for an hour and a half and I'm just going to run my pitch over and over again and just ask questions that you think might come up. Right? If you've never done that, how well do you think that pitch is going to go? It's your first time trying.
Shit.
Yeah.
Dog
Right?
shit.
You are going to crash and burn. That person's going to tell their significant other at the end of the day, someone came up to me to give a pitch. So I said, sure, I'll listen. And my God, I think it was the worst one I've ever heard.
I'll never get that time back.
Right? You know what I mean? Yeah. They're like, I made the wrong decision in the elevator.
Yeah.
It's time theft.
Yeah. So I wrote down my personal take, and it's the idea that, let's pull this up here for you. Okay, I wrote this out. Affirmations prime you to look for opportunities that align with what you want, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's good. But it's in the act of moving on these opportunities that change your life. Affirmations alone are not some sort of magic spell for success. It is the 1%. The 99% is actually doing the work. If you notice a pitch, you know what I mean? You are going to fail because you haven't put in the work. I think it's accurate to say that it's a 1 to 100 ratio. So 1 being affirmations, priming yourself. You know what I mean? This is what I want in
Hyping
life.
yourself up.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want in life, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm going to find it. And the 100 part of that ratio is doing hard, difficult, uncomfortable work, right?
Yep.
The affirmations have a tool, but it is literally the easiest thing you can do. And I think people have a bias to putting more importance on easy things.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Right? If
Especially
someone
in
says you
this
can
day
do
and age.
affirmations or hard work, you're going to go, affirmations sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So then that lends to the fact that affirmations are bullshit.
Yep.
That like people that sit there and say, and I'm going to get all the yogites all fucking pissed off at me. What else is new? I just put out positive energy and the energy will flow back in.
Yep.
I get to a certain extent that if I put out positive energy,
Yep.
I will. It's sort of
Yeah.
like if you and I are in a conversation and I'm edgy and I'm well, you're going to immediately do that back or
Yeah,
have a
retract.
tendency to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. And I believe that. I believe that you are what the energy that you put out
Yep.
to a certain extent.
Yep.
What I don't believe in is I have an affirmation that I'm going to have a bountiful day of revenue today at AK because we're short on bills type idea.
Yep.
Make it rain.
Yep.
I don't believe in that.
No.
shit.
Yeah,
and, that,
no.
and because guess what? How about I get back to work and,
Yep.
and get on the
And make
phones
it
and get
happen.
some leads. And that's
Yep.
where I think affirmation is all bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And going back to spend 90 days creating some evidence to back up what you're saying.
Right.
Right. So let's say if someone says, I'm putting out positive energy every day, right? You're going to put out positive energy, but let's say the person you work with is of the opposite kind of
Yeah.
thing. They say, you know what? I'm going to put in the effort. So you know what? Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's weird, I'm going to do nice things for other people for 90 days. Okay. At some point in time, people are going to realize that you're a fraud. The other person is, I put out positive energy every day. And it's like, okay, well, Timmy that you work with is, helping people unload their groceries and do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What have you actually done other than,
Say it.
talk softly to people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You are a fraud. You are literally a fraud. You have no evidence to back up what you are saying.
It's almost like they're trying to convince themselves of that.
Yes.
Well, I think isn't that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the entire idea?
Yeah.
Like if my mentality of an affirmation, it's inner talk.
Yep.
Like I'm not saying my affirmations in front of Tammy or
Yep.
girls.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it to myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And like I said before, so that, I'm putting out positive energy. If that helps you get in a framework to see opportunities in which you can help people and engage with them and really bring up the quality of their life that day,
Mhm.
that's great. But that is the 1%,
Right.
right? It is now your job to spend that ratio 1 to 100
Yeah.
is now do those things, right?
Yeah.
Do those uncomfortable things. You're tired, whatever. I have an opportunity to help someone out. I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if
That's
I'm
the
gonna
hard
put out
part.
positive energy. What are you going to do when something goes wrong in your day?
Yep.
Are you just going to maintain that affirmation,
Right.
or are you going to succumb to the negative energy?
Yep.
Right.
Well, it's also and take it back to that. We keep talking about the happy person.
Yeah.
But we all know people that are absolutely just
Yep.
fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like they wake up,
Yeah.
up hating the world. They
Yep.
hate their life. And they
Woe is me.
ooh is
Yep.
negative. Woe is me. That's a perfect thing. And it's almost like they go out of their way to, oh, but you're too happy. I need you to,
Right.
come down.
Yeah.
Or when you say to them, hey, good morning, how's your day? Oh, I got a fucking toothache.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, maybe you have a toothache,
Yeah.
but maybe your answer is, I have a great day. It's toothache is killing me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have a great day because A, B,
This
C,
is
and D,
it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
See, that actually happened at the gym where it was an old staff member, and he had just started, and I greeted a member, and I said, "Have a great day." And that person said, "Thanks," and they walked away. And that staff member came up and goes, "Why the fuck is it a great day?" This is literally the first
Right.
time I've
Yeah.
ever met him.
Jesus.
Oh,
And I'm like, "Put your fucking hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. It's a great
Yeah.
day."
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I was very blunt.
Yep.
I shouldn't have been that blunt.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 days later, he caught me and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And he said, "I just want to thank you for that. At first, I thought you were an asshole.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I was in such a negative space that I could not see positive."
Right.
Right.
And so that one little engagement
Yep.
had him kind of change his perception a little bit.
Yep.
Did it stick? I don't know.
Yep.
Probably not, given
Yeah.
what happened. But he still had that aha moment, but it was his responsibility to be able to maintain that type of
100%.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you go again, we're really picking on those woo-woo people, but it's I'm putting up positive energy, right? Putting up positive energy. Well, you hear it all the time from these people. They meet someone who clearly does not put up positive energy and they go, "Oh, they really ruined my vibe."
Yep.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's like the second I'm putting up positive energy, then someone puts a negative and they say, "Oh, they really ruined my vibe. That really affected me in a negative way."
Yeah.
It really ruined that idea.
Mhm.
Now, if you self-identify with being a good, nice person, it doesn't affect you.
Right.
What you do doesn't change who I am.
That's right.
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 And we talked about the snake in the fire.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I always go back to. This is
Yeah.
the story that someone is walking past a fire and a snake falls into the fire. So they quickly, they reach in quick to grab it and pull it out. But as they're pulling it out, the snake bites them. So out of reaction, they let go of their hand, but the snake just falls directly back into the fire. So they start looking around and they run over and grab a stick. This time they grab the stick, lift the snake out and let it go, and it slithers right away. And the first person watching says, "Why would you do that? The snake bit you." And he said, "Another's nature to hurt me does not change my own nature to help."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that that person self-identified with being a helper. Right.
Yeah.
But that comes from having a stack of evidence.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That does not
Yeah.
come from
It's not like that day.
that day I talked in the mirror and I said, "I'm a helper."
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
helper.
Right.
Chose
Yeah.
No.
that light.
No.
Yeah.
That comes from a stack of evidence that one event like that can't skew your idea that's who I am as a person because it is what I do.
Right.
But wouldn't that thought had to have started at some point where they're like, "You know what? I am going to help people. I want to help people."
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then the action took place.
Absolutely.
And then now they can stand firm in the belief that
Yep.
I am a helper.
Yep, absolutely. And I again, like I'm still sticking, and that's the idea. You did the 1%.
Right.
The 1% is necessary. Like, don't you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not
That's where I was
necessary.
going to go next too.
Yeah.
The 1% is absolutely necessary, but you need to follow it up with the following 99%.
Yeah.
Right.
And does the old chicken or the egg? Like, does the affirmation have to come first, and then you're kind of drawing this line of who
Right.
I want to be or what
Yeah.
I want to happen?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can say that.
Yeah.
But now the 100% after has to be me making that happen.
Yes.
It's just
exactly.
not magically going to float out of the air. Down to you.
It again, it revolves around putting in uncomfortable hard work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that person, so let's go back to that person that's negative, that wakes up every morning, they're listening to this, they're watching this, and
They've
they're
already
like,
shut it off by now.
what's that?
They already shut it off by now.
Yeah.
It's too
point.
positive for
Well,
me.
that's why I started with affirmations are bullshit. I was hoping
Yeah.
I'd keep those people alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I happen to think they're bullshit too. I used to do affirmations all the time.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, hold on. These are just words.
Yep.
Like, sure, they make me feel better in the instant,
Yep.
in the moment. But once I open the door and go out to where or whoever, get in the car, so someone cuts me off. Oh, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Benevolence, love, health, happiness. Okay, relax. but then I've got to follow in behind that.
Yep.
And so that person that wakes up angry at the world every day and there's not a happy person, where do they start?
Yeah.
Doing self-work. Like no one wants to live in a negative space.
Well, that's where I think I go back to what he says. Now you got to put the hard work in before, and the hard work for that person might be coming up with an affirmation in the first place,
right?
Because they're not naturally thinking that way.
No, and I also will say that it like kind of almost like a steps of process here.
Yeah.
If you are dependent, right? You would never think of doing an affirmation, because an affirmation still does, like I'll give people that use affirmations that it is their responsibility to change.
Yes.
They're accepting that this is something I have to do.
Yeah.
Right. If you are saying that, well, no, that's just who I am. That's life did this to me. Right. Okay. You are still a child, right? You can't take responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do a bit more deep self-work. Before we can really get to that, other end.
Yeah.
It's like that, dependent, independent to intradependent.
Yeah.
Right. If you are still on the dependent.
Explain that to our viewers and listeners. Those 3 levels.
Those 3 levels. So dependent is that things happen to you, right? I am fully anchored on the actions of other people.
Yeah.
Right. If it is a bad day because a bad day happened to me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility.
Right.
It just happened to me.
Yeah.
Independent is obviously you take responsibility for your actions, right? You start to seem like, oh, you know what? Like maybe I am the common denominator if a bunch of things are happening, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe if I, you know what I mean? Like read this book or worked on this skill or something, maybe my days would be better, right? So it's the idea I'm taking responsibility for that. And then intradependent is the idea that I'm an independent person, but things are better together. So it's the idea where I would come and I'd say, hey, like I'm again, independent. You have to go to the independent first.
Yeah.
I'm really good at this, but I'm not very good at this. Jeff, you're the opposite. Do you mind if we work together? You know what I mean? I can fully help you with this. I'm really struggling with this, but it is my job to get it done. Do you mind if you help me?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That is intradependent.
Right.
So if you're way at the baby stages, still you're going to have to work on your your dependent to independent before you're even going to have an affirmation, because an affirmation assumes that you are responsible for that.
That's right. Yeah. And that's where that person that wakes up angry,
Yep.
they got a lot of work, but it might even just start with, okay, hold on. Like you need to take onus of you.
Yep.
My dad, I think I said in season 1, my dad told me several times, you come home and you ran into an asshole that day. That sucks.
Yeah.
You come home and you ran into 3 assholes that day. You're the asshole.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to look in, right?
Yep.
Because and that's me being dependent.
Yep.
Going, what the fuck? I ran into 3 different dicks today. Or 3 different guys cut me off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I'm fucking tailgating her.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think the hard part for someone that was, and I believe I was that person, was to stop and go, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What was my role?
Right.
Okay, now what do I want my role to be?
Yep.
And becoming a husband changed that, and then becoming a father changed that forever.
God, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And now and now there's almost, you have to be intradependent because you have 2 dependent people on you.
Yep.
And you're now trying to guide them towards independence, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're doing that at all ages, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Your kids are still young. Mine are both in university.
Yep.
There's still a level of dependency where Tammy and I talked about something with one of our daughters about a week ago. And she's like, we got to call her. And I'm just like, well, FIO, man, let her figure it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we'll step in when the time comes, right? With our son, he's going through something right now. And Tammy and I sat last night and just went, you know what? The best advice as parents we could give him in right now is, how can I help?
Yep.
I'm going to give you an opinion.
And so
exactly.
Go back to talk about parents too. So you have dependent people who have kids.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Society does that. I can't, you know, that's not my problem. Like, you know what I mean? I'm doing the best.
That damn teacher.
Yeah, that damn teacher. And I'm doing my best, so you can't say anything about me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then obviously you have independent parents, right? Where they're like, okay, I gotta hunker down. You know, this isn't working. I got to try something new, right? Because I'm taking responsibility.
Yeah.
One way you can find an intradependent parent is if you ever hear them, they say, yeah, my kid really taught me about that.
Yes.
I learned something, you know what I mean? Like me and my kid, you know, we were trying to figure this out. We were arguing, whatever. And that situation taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because now they're looking at someone who's even a child, right?
Yeah.
And saying that like, they might have something to bring to the table. Even if really I have to kind of do 99.9% of the work in this situation to
Yeah.
resolve a problem.
Yeah.
They're still saying that this is a person bringing energy to the table and something.
Well, and they're
you know, I
sharing
can
a
learn.
perspective that
Yep.
you might not.
that you may
Exactly.
not have, or
Yeah.
you always. And I'm smiling at you because the two of the three smartest people in my life are my two daughters and my one daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're coming up for trivia night, so now
Yeah.
I've got some challenge on Monday night. But they have taught Tammy and I
Yep.
to a level where Tammy and I are actually laughing at one another,
Right.
because we're so steadfast. And I'm not going to get into the topic because it's
Yep.
debatable and we don't need to go there. It's the fact that I'm so interdependent because I'm sitting there, I'm now the sponge.
Right.
So for the first 16, 17 years of their lives, they
Yeah.
were a sponge. I
Yep.
was, right? And now I'm sitting back on, and I'm an educated, well-read man.
Right.
But I'm getting such a different viewpoint on a
Yep.
certain topic where I'm going, well, that's not the way it is because I've thought this way for 50 years.
Yep.
Meanwhile, it's
And
idiot. You've been thinking this way for 50 years. It's always
But
been
there's
this.
always another side
Yep.
to it.
100%. Paul.
That's interesting,
And
yeah.
I smile when you start saying that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I learn something new every time I talk to them.
Now,
Yeah.
and I would say, is there a time? Now, you're not going to know the day, but
Yeah.
if you can say, okay, you know what, when my kids were this age, you know what, I probably was independent and not interdependent.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
the idea where you're like, oh yeah, this is my responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say it's my responsibility to raise these children,
Yeah.
but you're not learning anything for them because you're like,
Right.
well, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? It's you don't have anything to teach me.
Yeah. You have nothing to
Yes.
what's the word I'm looking for? You
Contribute to this.
contribute.
Yes.
You have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
Yeah.
And my dad used to always say in the social, you never learn anything when your mouth is moving
Yep.
because you're just repeating what's up here.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth, open your ears. That's how you learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's
Yeah.
so funny you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone in the position on the rungs they're at actually knows that they're in that position.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right?
Very
I
interesting.
think you always think you're one up.
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
A dependent person
Yeah.
thinks, no, I'm independent.
Yeah.
I'm independent.
Yeah.
And an independent person says, I look for help all the time. You know what I mean? Like I research things, I do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What does
there
an
are,
interdependent person think? If they're one up.
I don't know. What do you think?
what's that? What did you?
Well, if
If
a
you're always
dependent
thinking you're
person
rung up.
thinks they're rung up.
Yeah.
So dependent thinks they're independent. Independent thinks they're interdependent. What would an interdependent person think? Or are they
ultra.
ultra?
Yeah. I think it's
Huge noise there.
They don't think anything because they're so
Yeah.
set, right?
That's right. Because they're,
They're
so
just
perfect.
there, yeah.
I think it's the opposite. I think it's kind of
Or that they think they're down one.
well, so I forgot it's some sort of Socrates quote, but he basically says at some point in time you'll be smart enough to realize you don't know anything.
Oh, right on. I love
Right.
that. Yeah.
And it's the idea. I think you get to the point where interdependent where you're like, whew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There
This
are
is just the tip of the
so
iceberg.
many people that
Yeah.
know so many things that can
That's
help
right.
me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am such a small piece of this.
Well, it's the old adage.
pond.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not learning anything, dude.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could literally take you through the layers of my life
in
and-
which
and it
area?
wasn't-
Yeah.
of progression.
Yeah.
No.
It was,
Oh yeah. Progress
Yes.
is never linear.
oh my God. That's the perfect word, pal. It
Yeah.
was so unlinear.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a word.
Yeah.
And I don't know of any relationship or individual that's had that linear
No.
graduation.
No.
But I'm smiling at you because I know exactly the dates where I'm like, okay, holy fuck, and they're not teaching me.
Yep.
That's not just politics, religion, or whatever.
No.
It's their actions in a situation where
Yep.
I'm like, and then there's
you would
others
have
when
handled it differently, but
Yeah.
they're handling it another
Right.
way.
Or-
still
And it's
worked
successful.
out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, or there's
Yeah.
times of pride.
Yeah.
Like my daughters, and they're 20 and 21, and but go back to when they were 12 and 11.
Yeah.
They walked in when they met you,
Yeah.
their hands out and they're shaking.
Right.
And people would say, I've never had young girls shake their hand. I'm like, yeah, I take pride in the fact that they know that's the proper way to introduce themselves,
Yep.
right? So there's that independent, right? That
Yep.
I'm still teaching them.
Yep.
And then now I get into scenarios with them and I'm the student. I
Right.
love it.
Yep.
I am 100% on board with that, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are people, and I having been one earlier in their lives where, no, you can't teach me anything.
Yep.
You have
Oh, yeah.
nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know everything,
Yep.
right? What a fucking small-minded,
Right.
measle-toe little idiot I was,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And it's that, so it kind of runs on the same curve as, you know, the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes.
Yes. So the Dunning.
Totally.
Yeah. I'll
Totally.
just, we all know. I'll
I
explain it. I'll explain
I
it
have
to
the
them.
diagram
Yeah.
at home.
Corey knows.
Corey knows.
There we go, Corey.
So the Dunning-Kruger effect basically says that the more you know about a subject, the less confident you become.
Okay, yeah.
So it's the idea where you have a point in time where you're right at the base. So if if someone said, how much do you know about nuclear fusion? I would be nothing. You know what I mean? Like, because it is nothing. I have an accurate representation. Right? It is zero is zero.
Zero, buddy.
He's just admitted to not knowing something.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean?
That's our next topic on episode 5.
Yeah. So there is a point in time at the start where you have an accurate representation.
Right.
Well, nothing. Like literally zero. When you start to learn something, you have an inaccurate representation of how much you know. All of a sudden you need to learn a little bit, and you're like, I know a bunch.
I can have a discussion.
I know a bunch about that. For example, when they ask drivers, so everyone who has a solid G license, they say, do you fall above the 60th percentile for safe and effective drivers? Right? So are you within the 40% at the top? Do you know how many people said yes?
70%.
88%. So 88% of people think that they're in the 40th top percentile. That math does not math.
That's not math.
Yeah,
That's not math.
That doesn't match up.
Does not math.
Yeah.
And it's the idea where they know a little bit about driving, right?
Yeah.
They've passed a G, right? And they've started driving.
Yeah.
So they think I'm the best. I'm the absolute best. And it's very easy to look at those people and say, okay, well, we're talking about everyone who has it. Well, if you just looked at people who have multiple speeding tickets in a year, right, for safe drivers, I'm going to guess that the top 40% have no speeding tickets. No speeding tickets, no traffic infractions.
Well, they can't if they fall into that percentile.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
So it's the idea that it is actually irrational to have evidence to support that you're in the bottom 60, but you will still say that you are, you know what I mean? Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a minor fender bender and I have 2 speeding tickets, but I am in the top 40%.
And it was the other guy's fault.
Yeah, it was the other
Yeah, it
guy's
was the other
fault.
guy's fault. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault. All right. Anything else?
No.
Yeah. I find this absolutely fascinating. I think it's phenomenal. Like, because I know and I don't do affirmations daily, but I know on a personal level that every day I may have something on my mind or something to do or something that's got to get done.
Right.
And I consciously stop and then think, okay, what is the actual best avenue to get there?
Yep.
Right.
So would that be an affirmation or am I doing the work at that point?
So I would say that you probably do the accurate ratio, right? Every once in a while you stop and say, you know what, am I looking at this in the right perspective?
Yeah.
Right? Every once in a while you say, you know what, I should be, you know what I mean? I remember Simon Sinek's advice, I should be looking to help.
Yeah.
And then actually helping people is the
action.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is if someone who does that, that's an accurate representation of what you should be doing to be the most effective.
Yeah.
Is to spend a 1 to 100 ratio
of
every couple weeks, stopping for 10 minutes and thinking, okay, you know what? Am I looking at this the right way?
Yeah.
Am I looking to do the specific actions that will get me the outcomes I'd like?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Once you've kind of reframed that every couple of weeks.
Yeah. I turned to that the other night, like when I had the one-on-ones with you guys, and the night before when I sent the message, and then I sent it there, and they said, "Okay, now what am I going to do in each one?"
Yeah.
So I started making my notes.
Yeah.
And I went right back to Simon Sinek, and for the listeners and viewers, that he's a phenomenal author and guest speaker, and I went back and I read the one page. I'm like, okay, so I have a just cause for our brand.
Yep.
Right. I have that vision of where we want to go.
Yeah.
But then I said to myself, okay, but I've kind of thrown my hat over the fence with these one-on-ones. What do I want?
Right.
What's my just cause for each one of these one-on-ones?
Yep.
And then it was just Niagara Falls. It was like boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Jack, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, that's doing the work. Like, I get it. And of course, then the finish line is, okay, so how can I help?
Yep.
So this is, you and I talk about the different things of managerial responsibility. And when you and I met, it was sort of like, okay, here's the nuts and the gravy and the bolts.
Yeah.
So how do we fix it? How do we build this back up? And then what do you need for me to help you build that back up, right?
Yep.
So I could have just had the affirmation. I woke up and said, I'm going to have 3 good meetings today.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's, wow, yeah.
Right.
That
Well,
means
that's like the
absolutely
equivalent
squat.
Yeah.
of having relationship problems.
Pardon me?
The equivalent of that, just like breaking down in like a simple term, is if you have a relationship problem
Yeah.
and you apologize and you keep apologizing for the same actions, you're relying on your words to get you through,
Yep.
and there's no action or follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people who are using affirmations to get through their lives are
Yeah.
simply just saying sorry to themselves over and over and expecting a different outcome.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
That's
Like,
really
it
well
has
said.
to be action oriented. And if you expect that for relationships or anything else, then you have to expect that for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
And having that perspective is important. I know, like, okay, so the co-op students at work.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just don't think about that in the paradigm, how am I viewing this? Like, what am I supposed to be doing, getting out of this, whatever? You might just tell them to do things.
Yeah.
Right. But if you take a second to think, hey, what am I looking for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the outcome here? And again, it's a 1 to 100.
Yeah.
But you change your actions. So, like, I remember Phil was talking to me about talking to the co-op students, and he was saying you didn't even tell them to do anything. And it was because I came up to them, they're not doing anything. I said, hey guys, what's our top priority right now? Like, oh, this, and we could be doing this, we could be doing this. Those are fantastic ideas. How long do you think that takes? Couldn't be more than 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Is there anything I can do to help you? And they say, could you grab this from the back? I say, absolutely. Like, I'm excited to tell me how it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. I asked questions.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that was it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're shifting to the paradigm of what are our top priorities? How long do they take?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So rather than waiting for someone to tell them,
Yes, exactly.
they're now
Right.
aware of,
Right.
Yeah.
Now they're aware that they can have the support that they need. What do we need? Right.
Yeah.
What do we need to get those top priorities done in an appropriate amount of time?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just I did what I was told and now I wait until I am told to do something.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And that's Simon's, right? That's
Yep.
Simon to a T is
Yep.
as a leader. So
Yep.
what did you do to create the situation?
Yep.
What can you do to change the situation? How can you help?
Yep.
Right. And not just, well, I don't like this situation.
Yep.
Got to change.
Yep.
Right.
That is self-soothing.
Right. And
Yep.
it's funny, and we're not going to talk about who, but like someone came into my office at the end of the day yesterday,
Yeah.
and which I thought were in a very happy job and
Yeah.
content with their career and thriving in their career, I thought. And
Yeah.
that person sat at my desk and went, the person I work for isn't the person I thought I was. And I met this person.
Yep.
And I was just sort of like the cards came crumbling down. And
Yep.
then the more they talked, the more I went, wow, that's not the leader that we had been portrayed.
Right.
And it was very opposite of what Simon's role was. It's,
Yep.
your numbers suck.
Right.
That's great leadership. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I probably already knew that.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
I probably already knew that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
kind of know that.
Yeah.
How can
Yeah.
you help me that time
Yeah.
of year, right?
Yeah.
For those out there, you have to pick up. There's a couple books by Simon Sinek, but
Yeah. They're great. I really do enjoy those books.
yeah, and talk about, man, I'll take a long shot and email him and see if he wants on here or something.
Yeah.
Because I tell you,
You
he's
just got to start tagging them in the posts.
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yes. Okay. We'll do that. And I'm going to shoot him a message because
Yeah.
he's changed my approach.
Yeah.
We had a meeting, a year ago, 10 months ago, 8 months ago, and we walked out of the meeting and you looked at me and you said, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I went, what? What do you mean? He goes, you're so progressive thinking now.
Right.
And up until that, before I read his book,
Yeah.
I was numbers this, numbers that,
Right.
numbers that.
Yeah.
And the whole mentality's changed. And has not the culture of
Yeah.
our business changed? And,
Yep.
and we're thriving.
Yep. Exactly. Crazy.
Crazy
right?
to think that way.
Crazy when you put in the work. Things happen.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay, question number 1. It's kind of crazy. What's the temperature of an atom at nuclear fusion? How did that come up? Okay, it's not.
I was going to say 12 degrees.
I was just trying to get something you didn't know. Okay, name the scariest animal on Earth.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, Corey.
Corey's asshole.
Yeah. Okay.
Scariest animal on Earth.
I'm going to describe it because I don't know the name of it.
Okay.
But okay, you know those deep sea fish with the light bulb?
Oh, fuck. Those things are
That-
fucking scary.
Okay, I will,
Yeah.
and I will say any large fish is scary to me.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, so like let's say, like a mountain lion or something when I was on a big hike came out. I'm like, you know what? I'm probably gonna die. You know what I mean? Probably gonna die. Probably
Yeah.
can't fist fight a mountain
Yeah.
lion.
Yeah.
But at least I'm gonna go out swinging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm on. This is my turf.
There's
This
like
is
a-
your
That's
turf.
right.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to.
1%
I'm
chance.
gonna try,
Mono a mono.
yeah, I'm gonna try to punch you in the face. You know what I mean? Where I think if I died because I got like a shark or any of those weird fish,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm just dying. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not even putting a fight.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
No.
just a bad way to
The
go.
equivalent to a fish out of water.
Yes, exactly.
You're a man in water.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, man. Komodo dragons.
Yeah. Komodo dragons are.
Oh yeah,
You know,
they're
those
pretty
things
creepy.
like
Yeah.
they can sniff blood from, X amount of distance, and then when they bite you, they're not venomous.
No,
but
it's
they're
bacteria. Yeah.
And then after they bite you, they track you.
They just follow you.
and they follow you until you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're
Fuck
dying of
me.
some sort
Yeah.
of.
That's primitive, man.
Like
Yeah.
Steve Irwin, when he went to that island,
Yeah.
he ended
Remember
up
him lying with them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember he slit his leg open and there was blood and he had to climb a tree. And you see the camera crew and they look down and there's a fucking herd
No way.
of Komodo dragons just
Yeah.
at the
Trying to
bottom of
get
the
at him.
tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Ugh.
see that part.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, and I think it is creepier because you buy a snake, it's venomous, right? It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you're dying of a festering infection.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Yeah. And then you're going to get eaten alive before you die.
Yeah, and it's the idea that they are just looking at you like that's just my spit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
eat that shit.
Yeah.
And you pussy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like this is bacteria that could kill both of us, but it's just killing you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just killing you.
Like
Yeah.
and the walk that they have.
Oh, yeah,
Like
it's-
just like a
It's a saunter almost,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
There's a swagger to
Oh, yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The swagger is the perfect
Yeah.
word.
What's
Fuck
yours?
those things.
Definitely sharks. I have a horrible story. It's a hilarious story, but I'm terrified of sharks.
Yep.
I'll go in the ocean.
Right.
I will, but I'm looking for them all the time. 'Cause
Right.
They're down there and they're going to find me.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee
Just
they're
you.
going to fucking
Just
find me.
specifically you.
I got like a target on my
Yeah.
shins.
Yeah.
That's the fucker today.
Yeah.
It's the
But
Nike symbol.
I was water skiing in Acapulco, and we went way out into the bay, and I dropped a ski, so I'm slaloming, and of course I wipe out. The waves out there, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, so first of all, I'm nervous right away,
Yeah.
and the waves are like really high where I can see the boat. I can't see the boat, and all of a sudden the boat's going in the opposite direction, and I'm in the middle of Acapulco Bay,
Right.
which was known for sharks. So I grab my ski, I put my feet in, and I'm trying to keep it below me.
Yeah.
And I look down, I've got red shorts on.
Yeah.
Fucking great idea.
Yeah.
So I'm like waiting, and finally, and I jumped in the boat and started beating the shit out of the driver of that boat.
Yeah.
And my buddy Dave had to grab me. I was so fucking terrified that I was going to die of a shark bite.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they didn't come to get me. They
Yeah.
went to get the ski that I had dropped first.
Right.
And I, probably.
Well, what if the shark bit the ski?
What?
You gotta replace those.
What are you thinking logically?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fuck, it's gonna bite the ski, and then maybe I'll have like a piece of the wooden thing to stab it.
Right.
Things going through my mind, I'm not
Yeah.
going to discuss.
Yeah.
It's scary. I've never been more scared in my life.
Yeah.
And my reaction, I was crying so loud. And Dave's like, get out of the water. But
Yeah.
the second I got out of the water, I went right at the driver of the boat. It was like, you fucking had me killed.
Todd turned into the shark.
Oh, buddy.
On the
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
He saw
The
red.
hunter.
Yeah.
The hunter became the hunter. Yeah. Not my brightest moment. Hum your favorite song while you plug your nose.
I'm just gonna
Hum happy birthday. You plug your nose.
Is it actually that hard?
It does not work.
Yeah, that's actually. But I did not know that was an impossible task.
You
Yeah, I
can't
did
do
not
it.
know.
Yeah, can't do it. My ears just popped. Okay. What is the best concert you've ever attended?
NF concert recently was epic.
What venue?
Scotiabank.
Nice.
But meaningful, I'll say this TikTok dude, Jake, because it was my daughter's first concert.
Oh,
So
very
that
cool.
was like,
Bonding experience is
oh
nice.
my God,
Yeah.
it was awesome. And I was on prep.
Right.
And I like took my bodybuilder hat off. I
Yeah.
ate food. I,
Right.
had some candy with my daughter. I'm just like,
Yeah.
all right, this is one of these moments.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Right on.
As a teenager, I went to a Sum 41 concert,
Very cool.
and that was like the most teenager thing you could do.
Yeah,
really.
teenage
Yeah,
angst
yeah.
right there in
Yeah.
the crowd.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Mosh
Very
pit,
cool.
everything. Yeah.
Very cool.
You?
I went, I saw the Tragically Hip, I don't know how many times.
Right.
Like, I think they're the greatest band of all time, obviously, my generation. But I went in one summer, I drove down to Chicago twice and saw the Bare Naked Ladies and the Tragically Hip in a nightclub called the Riviera. And it was like this twice the size of the Donleys.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just unbelievably good.
Oh, Bare
And
Naked
vast
Ladies
majority of
was
them are
sick.
Canadians,
Yeah.
right? And just rocked the place out. It was just, what a
Oh.
great venue. And then
Yeah.
Tragically Hip in their heyday. And believe it or not, the Bare Naked Ladies were more popular in the States than
Right.
Tragically
Mhm.
Hip, right?
Yeah.
But just both phenomenal
Yeah.
concerts. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
during that, If I Won $1 Million, just literally
Oh,
boxes
God.
of Katie getting rifled onto
That's
the stage.
funny.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool.
I love that song.
What are the 3 yellow properties on Monopoly?
Oh, come on. I can see them.
I don't even have the slightest clue. I don't even know
Can
whether
you give me the
I-
first letter?
the
One is 2 words and it's M and G.
I know. I'm trying to like pull information out. Dark navy's the most expensive, right?
Park
No,
Place.
light blue.
Light blue.
Yeah, Park Place and
Park Place and Boardwalk.
Yeah.
Boardwalk,
Nope.
yeah.
I got nothing.
yellow.
Absolutely
No.
nothing. I don't even know how
Atlantic
expensive it is.
Avenue, Vendor Avenue, and Marvin Gardens.
Oh fuck.
I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
Did you do the fuck like you're like I was just about to say that? Did you do
No,
that?
I think
fuck
he did.
as in like I never buy the yellow properties, but I'm gonna start buying the yellow properties. This is never in the row that I want.
The
I
yellow
want
ones
the
are always
first
the yellow
row
and the
second
green
row.
are the two most profitable. I think when you play Monopoly. What city is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in?
Detroit.
No.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
New York.
Believe it or not, Cleveland.
Oh.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay. Black and white aren't colors. What are they?
Shades.
Shapes, did you say?
Shades.
Shades. Nope.
Sorry, black and white are not colors.
They're not colors.
So it'd be a tint?
Nope.
No, what is it?
So black is the absence of all color, and white is the combination of all colors. So you have a color wheel with every single color, and you spin it, the entire wheel becomes white.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool, eh? I thought it was interesting too. This was for Corey, but he's not here. So God, I love that. What NFL team is community owned? Everything else has a private owner except this NFL team.
Cleveland Browns.
No,
No
you're going
idea.
with Cleveland, yeah.
No idea.
The Green Bay Packers are community owned. Okay, you're in a public bathroom.
Yep.
You just finished a crap.
Okay.
You realize there's no toilet paper. Oh yeah, sorry. And it was wet. What are you doing?
Well, first, if someone's in the stall beside me,
Yeah,
I've done this.
I was about to say.
Like, you got
Yeah.
some squares over there,
Yeah.
Yes, it's going.
Yeah.
Get some
and
cheese.
they pass them under, and I'm like, I need more than that, bud.
Yeah.
Or I have waddled into another stall.
Right.
Waddled. Okay, so you don't pull the pants all the way up.
No,
You
No,
keep them
that's-
down
no,
by your
that's-
ankles.
I just
That's
no, I
disgusting.
leave them
That's
right
disgusting.
below my ass
Just
crack.
listen.
Yeah.
It's a question
Or like
on
right
the
below
next
my ass
episode.
cheeks.
Yeah. Okay. Random thought. So
Yeah.
that's this scenario. Plays
Okay.
out. It's like there's someone clearly in the next stall. There's only two stalls. And there's someone clearly in the next stall. You will tap. Say, hey man, like I'm out of toilet paper. Do you have some? He's like, yeah, I have some. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna need a handful. You know, in case
Yeah.
toss on there. He said, yeah, you got like $5. And you have $5. You have $5 in your.
You gotta
would-
pay.
No, he would be getting his ass beat by a man with his pants around his ankles. The second
which-
his door opened,
Covered
I'm
in-
like, let's go, bud.
Covered in
So
shit.
now, would you give him the $5 and then just beat the shit out of him and take it back, or would you?
I gotta respect his entrepreneurial.
hustle.
Yeah, like I'm. You know what I mean?
gotta
If
tell
I
ya.
have $5 on me, I'm
paying the $5.
I'm paying
Yo,
the $5.
I don't have to. Can I get your email?
I take
I'll get to you.
e-transfer as well. E-transfer
You got
is
Venmo?
e-transfer is $10.
Oh my God. One of the best jokes one of our daughters played on Tammy. We were down at the X one day, and there was the four of us, Tammy, me, Caden, and Justice. And we're walking up to, where's the place where you go watch the horses? The guys, you eat with your hands. Medieval times.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Tammy's like, we're actually going in to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
She dressed up to go to the bathroom, and Tammy's like, you realize like you do everything with your hands in there, right? The girls are like what? Well, Tammy's like, whatever. And I'm like, I right away went, yeah,
Yeah,
everything's your
you
hands.
see-
But okay, you guys have to go to the bathroom. We'll go in the times. So we went in, and Tammy went in, and of course I'm not in the room, but Tammy said she sat down on the stall, and all of a sudden Keita just reached down with a handful of leaves. After a handful of leaves. I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then Tammy's like, you can use a toilet paper, Keita. But good one. All right, I need you to know what you're doing for the rest of the weekend using the voice of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Okay.
I knew you were going to be good.
It's like Australia. That's my one part.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shit the bed now.
Yeah.
I'll be going to the fuck. Okay. I'll be taking my fiance to a fancy restaurant tonight, my pretties, and then
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I will be going down on.
Always has that lid spin.
Yeah. And then we are having our buck and dough.
Oh, that's good. That's too good.
Enjoy.
The laugh is good.
Yeah, the
laugh
laugh
is
is
very
good. Everything
good.
else is
Good.
like I just
Yeah.
mimicked Corey
Yeah.
doing a witch impersonation.
It's like planning is what I'll do. Calendars to do is Google Docs, you'll see.
While your girlfriend eats tilapia. Woo! I'm going to go for a walk with my husband and my wife, and we're going to take our wee little dogs too. Oh my God.
Yours was a little Irish. Like,
They're after me, Lucky Charms.
That's the one. That's the one I was practicing on the way over here. I'm like, I can't fucking do this. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode of A Cultured Kast. Keep smiling.